Hey guys, so this is going to be a bit of a different video for today. Today I'm going to be talking about if Carmelo Anthony can ever be the same or maybe be as great as he once was with the Knicks. And in my opinion, I don't think Carmelo can do that considering his age, and I really think the best place for him in the league and to stay in Portland, or maybe not stay in Portland but stay in the NBA. I really think that Carmelo Anthony is in a really good spot right now, and he's averaging about 17 points and 7 rebounds as a starter. And he's also not been. He's also really helped the Blazers win some games down the stretch. We saw a few weeks or days ago he hit a game winner in Toronto, and I really think as a third scoring option, Carmelo Anthony has excelled in that role. He's also upped his rebounding numbers, and as Carmelo, I'm not really sure if Carmelo can ever be what he once was in New York, just in the fact that he's just been out of the league for a year. I still think that Carmelo Anthony can get better this year. I still think he might be able to average about 20 points and maybe like 10 assists, maybe not 10 assists, but 10 rebounds. Well, not 10 rebounds, 8 rebounds. And as we look at the numbers of the past few games, he's dropped 22, 18, 17, 19, 28 points. Like, these are good numbers. It's just Portland has just not been able to build a team that can really compete in the playoffs. They have 3 stars: Lillard, McCollum, and Anthony. Well, and they also got a good Yusuf Nurkic, who's been injured, out with an injury for most of the year. And Hassan Whiteside has not really been as good as I would have hoped for Portland, but he's still been pretty good, as averaging 16 points and 14 rebounds and almost 3 blocks a game, which is leading the league. But Carmelo, I still think Carmelo needs to make some small adjustments to his game in order to help Portland reach the playoffs. And for Portland, that's kind of a tall task because they currently stand 18 and 25, which of course is not very good. They still stand 10th in the Western Conference, even though they're only about 2.5 games behind Memphis, as the Western Conference bottom has been very weak this year, as Memphis in the 8th seed at 20 and 22. But Carmelo, if he would become a better playmaker, such as Carmelo upping his assists, he needs to be more of a facilitator. He's barely averaging 1 assist a game. And whenever the Portland wins, he's always had great assist numbers. And look at Charlotte on the 13th. He dropped 8 assists and they won by 3 points. If he didn't have those 8 assists, they might not have won that game. And I'm thinking if Portland can add maybe one more piece, maybe a solid bench player, maybe the Portland should add Andre Iguodala. I'm not sure. It depends on how much they want to get the playoffs this year. But I really don't think it would be that hard to beat out Memphis, who's 2.5 games ahead of them in the 8th seed. But yeah, like I said, Carmelo's not really had a bad year. He's really had a solid year, putting up 16 points, 6.3 rebounds, 1.4 assists, which is pretty low considering his career standards. It's definitely a step up from his Houston days, and when he was in OKC, is averaging more points and more rebounds on higher efficiency. Another thing to note is that Carmelo is averaging 44, has a 39 3-point percentage, which is his second highest in career, only behind 2013-2014 at 40%. He's really become a better knockdown shooter from 3-point range, like a really good catch and shooter, and I really think in some games I really think Portland should have give the ball to Carmelo a little bit more. Maybe when Damian Lillard's not really had his game, has really had a good game. He's kind of been struggling. They should really consider getting the ball to McCollum and Anthony a little bit more. Whenever sometimes you force the ball to Lillard, he sometimes, when he's cold, he just can't really make anything. And if they just would feed the ball to Melo when he's on like hot streaks, such as in Toronto when he had 28 points in a game winner, and he's really had not that high field goal like attempts. He hasn't shot over 20 attempts in a game since December. And I really think if they just give the ball to Carmelo a little bit more, he might average 20 plus. And he become the third player on the Trailblazers averaging 20 plus. But also, another player I want to mention is Mario Hezonja. I've really seen flashes of what he could be a good player in this league. I just don't think he's really not had the makeup yet. He's currently averaging 5 points and 4 rebounds, which is, not bad, but considering that he was drafted with the 5th pick in 2015, that's kind of bust numbers. I'm not going to say so myself. But Carmelo really, I think the main things he needs to focus on is facilitating the ball, getting his teammates open shots, and helping his team win by passing the ball and facilitating and playmaking. But if he keeps his scoring and his rebounding numbers where they are, and he can bump up his assist numbers by just facilitating and giving his teammates open shots a little bit more than he has, and the Portland really has a solid chance of getting into the playoffs. Considering the 8th seed Memphis is only 2.5 games ahead of them. And even though they just recently lost to Dallas today because of Luka Doncic being the best player in the league, he still put up 22 points. Lillard had a spectacular game. He had 34. Lillard's really having an underrated year, 27 and 8, not bad. But the reason they lost that game was because of C.J. McCollum. He only dropped 4 points, 2 for 6 shooting. He really didn't try to facilitate the ball. Meanwhile, Carmelo got to the free throw line 6 times, and he had 50% field goal rating that game. I just believe I do think Carmelo can get this team into the playoffs. Well, not by himself, but if he just picks up his game just a tad more, he could definitely become the second best scorer on that team. I'm not joking. It just depends how much Terry Stotts wants to give him the actual ball, and if he wants to run the ball through Carmelo, because most of the time when they run the ball through Carmelo, good things tend to happen, as we saw in Toronto. And no matter what, they should definitely not bench him, because that would just be a terrible idea. Yeah. But if Portland had Rodney Hood back, it really would be a very solid contender for the playoffs. But yeah. So those are my thoughts on Carmelo Anthony and how he can help the Portland Trailblazers into the playoffs. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button, then turn on post notifications for future videos. And I plan to do more post commentaries in the future of topics like a funky diabetic. And that's me signing off, Wicked Wizard. Have a great day.